Good morning, and welcome to Allient's Inaugural Investor Day, now trading under the ticker on the Nasdaq, ALNT. I'm Deborah Polaski, Investor Relations for Allient, and we're really pleased that you're joining us here today. You should have seen the releases that went out this morning, one of them announcing some of the information that we plan on presenting to you, and the other one noting that we did open under the ticker ALNT. Now, before we begin, I will remind you that we will make forward-looking statements today during the presentations as well as during the Q&A. These statements apply to future events that are subject to risks and uncertainties as well as other factors that could cause actual results to differ materially from what is stated here today. These risks and uncertainties and other factors are provided in documents that we file with the SEC on our website, and I could pause and let you all read this slide if you'd like to, but I won't do that. We will also today discuss some non-GAAP measures. These non-GAAP measures, historical non-GAAP measures, are reconciled in the slide deck that is available on our website. And forward-looking non-GAAP measures are not, we're not able to reconcile, but you should not consider them without also considering GAAP. Now, as you can see, we have an extremely full agenda for you today, during which we believe we will help you learn more about why Allient and what the nexus of our technologies are creating for us. We will be breaking, for those of you on the web, we will be breaking for lunch at about 11:55 and then restarting promptly back up at 12:30. Those here in the room are going to have a great lunch. I hope you on the web can enjoy yours as well. We will be having a Q&A session after all of the formal presentations. On the web, you can submit your questions via the portal, and we will engage those questions as well as the live questions here in the room. After the Q&A, those that are with us here are going to be joining us as we ring the closing bell on the Nasdaq today under our new ticker ALNT. When you complete the viewing of our Investor Day today, a survey will pop up for you. We ask that you complete that survey. It's very important for us to get the information and the feedback so that we can always improve upon what we're presenting and where we go. So we have a great lineup of speakers for you. You'll see a lot of the key members from our leadership team presenting a great amount of information. And I hope you get the chance to, for those of you that are here physically, get the chance to meet the team as well. Now, before I introduce Dick Warzala, our Chairman, President, and CEO, I'm going to let you watch a little video.
Surface of Mars to the depths of the ocean. From a farmer's field to a factory's assembly line. From the front lines of defense to the critical moments on an operating table. When seconds matter, our products affect far more than the bottom line. At the core of global innovation throughout motion, controls, and power quality, Allient connects customers to cutting-edge solutions that improve lives. Across aerospace and defense, medical, agriculture, industrial, vehicles, electronics, and more. Allient, connecting what matters.
Excellent. So with that, let me turn it over to Dick Warzala, Chairman, President, and CEO of Allient.
Let's find this little table here. Folds out. So we'll see if I can make it through without spilling it. What do you think? Well, I'd like to thank all of you for attending and certainly welcome to our first Investor Day. It was kind of interesting standing out in the crowd and getting some comments about it. Are you going to give us a little more information than you have in the past? Yeah, we'll give you a little bit more. Okay? Anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of where the company came from, where we are today, and where we're headed for the future. Let's start with the roots. The roots of the company goes back to 1939. And when they were at a kind of an inflection point in the late 90s, trying to decide what it is that they were going to become. I was brought in and asked to take a look at the operations and perhaps provide some guidance to the board as far as what the direction of the company should be into the future. So I went around, I met management, I saw some of the operations, and really what I found was that it was a small, unprofitable, very fragmented company dealing in a couple business segments. So after the review, the board asked me to come in and present my findings. And so here's what we started with. What I did is painted a vision for them. And that's back in 2001. And basically the vision said that what you should do is be focused in the motion business and that there was a great opportunity to grow that business and become a global leader in the motion industry. I know it's hard for someone who been around for 60 plus years, and you had said you could significantly grow this business, but past history showed that we could do that in other companies. Well, why not with Hathaway? Also during the review process, really what we saw was the culture. The culture needed to change. It was a small company, but it was very fragmented. They operated in silos. And that really, for the long term, wasn't going to work. So we had to define a new culture for the company, and that was presented to the board as well. Another key element, so the three elements here, the vision, the culture, and set a strategy. The company was operating without a strategy. It was operating, as I said, fragmented silos. To be successful, we felt that it was important to get all the people aligned, and we'll talk about the steps that we went through and what we decided needed to be done to achieve that vision. Here's the starting point. There we go, back in fiscal year end, June 2002, motion revenue, primarily motors, 15.7 million. Losing money, EBITDA of just over $1 million, okay? Stock price of $1.18 and a market cap of $8.5 million. And that's all we had to do was take that and grow it. So, there's the culture. As I mentioned, fragmented silos. If they were going to be successful, they couldn't do that as independent business or companies. They had to do it as a company. And we created the culture, which basically is based on three words, our VIA. Value, integrity, and AST. Create value in everything you did. Didn't matter what your job was. Every day you came to work, create value. As far as integrity goes, this small fragmented company didn't show respect for their fellow workers. There was a lot of tension inside the company. And we had to fix that. We said you were going to deal openly, honestly, and with respect for all stakeholders. And that became a core element of our culture and still there today. AST, Allied Systematic Tools, is what we called it back then. So how did that differ than the Toyota Production System? Well, Toyota Production System was at the heart of that and the foundation for it, but from a production standpoint. Allied's was different. We brought in strategic thinking, and I had worked with multiple companies, found that people talk strategy, but they really talk deployment, not about the strategic thinking, not about what really the direction of the company should be and get everyone aligned, and then execute and deploy, okay? We also talked about, back then it was QDC, quality, delivery, and cost. Well, we added the growth and innovation. So right out of the chutes, our AST toolkit was different than the toolkits that you found in many companies back then, which was called Lean. Our strategy, 5 bullet points defining what the key elements of our strategy were. Through the strategic thinking process, we defined ourselves as a technology know-how company. And if you're a technology know-how company, the key to success is engineering. It's engineering, engineering, engineering. So you had to continue to feed the engineering element so that you could engage in competition, be better than your competition, and have knowledge that your customers and your markets could utilize. So we have absolutely set out, and we put a program in place then to upgrade engineering capabilities And we also felt that the long-term growth would be driven through with the right talent internally, complementary acquisitions externally. And we'll get into more of that history as we go further through the presentation. We couldn't be all things to all people. Therefore, target niche markets. And those niche markets, many of them came through our acquisitions. And we would focus on that. Key to the success, target niche markets. Get it down to the lowest level of field of application you could and make sure you did it better than anyone else. The innovation is part of AST. Innovate leading edge products and solutions. Look at that, solutions back in 2001. So here we were looking at this saying, well, it's a motor company. No, we were a motor company. We were become a solutions provider way back then. So that was in the strategy. Developed the culture of lean. I've talked about lean. Jeff will talk about lean to a much greater extent and show some examples of how it's impacted our company. But it's continuously improved in every aspect of the business. Not just manufacturing, but every aspect of the business. And that's our lean culture. We also use our AST toolkit to train and develop the next generation and succession plan for our leadership. It's worked extremely well. If you take a look around the company and you say, people have moved on, they've retired, you'll see the people that have replaced them have been developed, in most cases, from within. And I would attribute that to our common language that we had under AST and lean. So, the summary line there says, we aligned the entire company to achieve our stated strategic goals and objectives. How did we do? Well, I guess there's many ways to measure how we did, okay? But this is a statement for me. This is what I believe. We executed our strategy, and we did become a well-diversified global motion solutions company. We're operating with a one-team mentality, okay? And Allied has created significant value for its stakeholders. So we wanted to be a global company. Why was that important? Well, for us, it meant that would certainly expand our addressable market, but there's other things that were part of this becoming a global market. And I will tell you, diversity and diversification. Diversification of cultures, diversification of mentality, diversification of technology, products, geographic markets, and vertical market opportunities. Important part of our culture. When we brought that Allied team together, whether it was an entire team or partial team, you literally could see the respect in the room for each other. And to me, that was important because it didn't matter where you came from. You were part of the family. Very important. Or what I also want to point out, we got all these dots up there. What the heck do these dots mean? Well, right over here we say technology unit. Our technology unit is what somebody would call a business unit or a company. We just named it differently. We wanted the mindset, technology. You're responsible for that technology. You own it. Production unit. As we continued to grow the company, we found a need to become much more competitive. And we did that through focused production units, and we have them globally. Direct sales offices are on there. We expanded our sales network, and that sales network began bringing the concept of one Allied. Sell all products. It was the connecting point between our different technology units. Solution Center, the beginning of we need to develop solutions that take advantage of all of the technologies sitting with Allied, and we need to do it in a place where a customer could call and they could find an individual that could get them the right solution, or at least direct them in the right direction here. So you'll see the Solution Center, the sales force, very important to beginning the concept of one Allied. And you'll see how that's expanding more into the future as we go through what the next steps are. M&A. 16 acquisitions over 20 years. Our goal was one a year. We didn't quite achieve that. But anyways, the key here when we talk about M&A is we were building. Remember, the strategy said solutions from the first day. Complementary acquisitions. another key element of the success within Allied. You know, I know I've worked for companies where it was uncomfortable because through acquisitions, many times, you bought companies that were competing directly with your other companies. Well, we competed from a technology standpoint, but best solution would win for the customer. So we didn't attempt to duplicate what we had, we attempt to supplement, to enhance, okay? Create the competition internally that your solution could address the widest available market and let the best solution win. And I think, again, that's another key success. As we walk through here, you'll get more information on this later on the acquisitions. You'll start to see at some point, we started making acquisitions that would lead us to where we are today and where we're headed in the future, Allient. That'll be pointed out to you. So this just didn't happen. There was some thought process behind it, and again, like our strategy for solutions, same thing has occurred for Allient. So there's where we were, there's where we are today. So these are financial measures that say, did we succeed? Right. Revenue of 15 to 557 million. EBITDA, just over $1 million, over 23 million. Trailing 12 months, June, okay? Stock price at 33, no, it's higher today. I don't know what happened, but it's 34. So we can say the market cap is over 550 now, right? So I guess from a financial measure, you would say, you know, it was fairly successful. So we are an integrated solutions provider, but we are taking it to the next level. So what's next? We call it, Debbie started out with the new nexus. So Allient is short for Allied Nexus Technologies. And you heard the tagline, connecting what matters. So we have a unique set of technology that we're calling pillars, and you'll see more information on that we need to connect together and create a unique value proposition for our customers in the market. Starts out with, it's a natural evolution, but the natural evolution occurred through our strategy. Okay. I think this is the next important statement to make, and I think, you know, we're an environmentally and socially responsible company. Now, many companies talk about it, but you have to look and see what the activities are and what the functions of some of our products and what they do in the marketplace to drive that environmental and social responsibility. The presentations that will follow, you'll see that. They're not going to call it out and say, hey, look at how, here's our social, here's our environmental, but you're going to hear things that actually do help in both environment and socially responsibility. Market focus, that's Allient. That's what it's layering on top of what our core company already is. A strong vertical market focus that expands our solution set beyond integrated solutions, but more complete, full solutions, create more content, more value. We believe the success we had in motion, we can replicate that on our other pillars now, controls and power. So that takes us from an addressable market that we had with motion to grow to where we are today and almost doubles it. So to me, motion, power, and controls, Allient, gives us that opportunity with an addressable market that's more than about two times the size of what we have today. The strong vertical, the strong foundation here of our technology units. When we're looking at what we needed to do here and the next level, we needed to ensure that that foundation stayed in place. It was critical. It built the success of the company. We did not want to destroy it. Part of our success is also accountability, P&L responsibility at each of these units. We drive it down to the lowest possible level. We give them ownership, and we hold them accountable. So they have a job to ensure that they take their technology and their products and they promote it globally and continue to grow their business in terms of both revenue and improved profitability. So here's where we come with Allient. It's an expansion. Now, I don't want this to sound like this is an idea that hit one day we just flipped the switch and said, here we go. No, this was building. It was building again through our acquisitions We had acquired a few companies that had a really strong vertical market focus. And we found that they would bring more value to the customer, increase the value opportunity that we had. So we started to become aware that, how do we take these individual units that are dealing from a component or product level? We had this general purpose solution center. We saw some successes, but how do we accelerate that success? And to us, this is what Allient does. It layers on a strong vertical market focus on top of the technology pillars that we have. We call this the House of Allient. So we had to refine our strategy. And in February, we brought a team together and said, okay, we got to get ready for this. What is it that we need to do? As we became, I guess you could call it a more sophisticated company, we had to find ways to make sure that this all could blend together. We weren't tearing apart our current structure. We were layering on. We were making an investment in, okay? And again, it's just some exciting, you're going to see vertical markets that we have that we're working on today that the rest of the team will show you. But go back to the strategy with our leader that helped us in the strategic thinking process, okay? He would always say, listen to the music. What are the words that keep coming through over and over and over as people are working through their strategy? The highlighted, or the bold items here, was the music. So we said create a simplified and focused, a really more focused organization, positioned to win in our target markets. Simplified, focused, win target markets. Important. Next, upgrade corporate marketing. Okay, we had corporate marketing, but I would tell you that many of you had mentioned to me in the past that you guys needed to do more to get your image out there and improve upon that. We felt this was a perfect time to really do that, to really enhance and develop that, come up with. You'll see some more as you go through the presentations about what some of that is. And you'll hear more about our corporate marketing program. It's extended down now. So these vertical market solution owners have got a marketing responsibility as well. They know their markets, their verticals better than anyone else. They have to be part of it. All under the umbrella of Allient. What's the goal there? Accelerated growth in sales and profitability. And there's multiple ways to do it, and I'll let our team tell you some of those ways that they're planning. To do this too, we had to continue to strengthen our leadership, and we had to build focus and accountability into all areas of our business. So Allient doesn't just run off and spend all kinds of money, spend money on marketing, go to trade shows, okay, hire more people. No, they're held accountable. That is a business. Key to the functions of our business, held accountable for growth and profitability. They have the accountability for the vertical. They pull in all the technology from the pillars. They bring the solutions and own the solutions. So we're now attacking from the top, not just the bottom. We're going to continue to leverage AST Toolkit. That's going to be a part of our culture forever. And when we get better, we're going to get better yet. And when we get better yet, we're going to continue to get better. So that's the mindset and the mentality, part of our culture. M&A, many questions about what are we going to do with M&A. I mean, M&A is going to be a function of continuing to build the company to meet our goals. It's going to enhance our opportunity to get there, okay? The key mantra coming out of there was simplify to accelerate. Everything we talked about, we said, let's simplify. We're becoming more sophisticated. We have to find ways so that it's easier for customers to do business with us. We have to find ways to leverage our talent to get there faster. And the only way we know how to do that is simplify things. Make it simple for people to do business with us. Make it simple internally for our people to understand what they're being asked to do. Simplify to accelerate. You're going to hear a lot of that in the future. Everything we do. If it becomes more complex, it's wrong. Simplify. So, driving to the next level. That's where we started. That's where we are today. And where are we headed for the future? We believe we can continue to grow our organic growth rates are faster than the industry rates. Why? It was part of our culture and our toolkit, starting right out. Innovation, growth. It's not going away. Acquisitions are to continue to complement growth. Here's what we expect to deliver. What's our next set of goals? Some of you have already mentioned it. You kind of knew it. Revenue of $1 billion. 100 bips of annual margin improvement. Now, that's going to include both gross margin, and Mike will get into more details here about managing OpEx and operating expenses, but keep generating. It's 100 basis points a year of improvement. Operating margins in the mid-teens and adjusted EBITDA margins in the high teens. Well, what's the question you're going to ask me is, well, when are you going to do this, right? When are you going to do it? And I'll turn that back out there. Our team went from a company with 15 million. We set a target of 100. We did it. I'll guarantee you there was more people skeptical in that room than there are today of taking this next step. We then set 250. We achieved it. We then said 500. We achieved that. Now saying $1 billion. When? If all of you can tell me what the impacts, what's going to happen in the world. We're going to have another pandemic. We're going to have supply chain crisis. What's inflation going to be? All I'll tell you is we'll manage through those. Those things will happen. We'll manage through those like we have in the past, and we will achieve this goal. Don't bet against this team. I'm confident we're going to get it done. So, Allient, connecting what matters. Top of the house, vertical market solutions. Bottom of the house, our core technology units. So, what's next? You've heard enough from me for many years. You want to hear from the rest of the team. And we've had the great opportunity with the bell ringing today to bring several members of our leadership team that does represent our company. More could be here. There's some sitting here that don't have presentations. That wouldn't let us. But anyways, what you're going to hear, Ken Bay's standing there. He can't wait to go, Coach. Come on, let me up here. Technologies and products. You're going to hear our business development. What's that mean? Not just M&A, but that whole level of lift in corporate marketing. Selected verticals. I'm going to caution you here on the verticals. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the verticals that you're well aware of that have built us to where we are today. Those are givens. You've been asking questions about those for many years. So we're going to focus on some new things that we think you're going to be interested in. AST, HR and talent, financial, and then the Q&A. All right? So with that, let me turn it over to Ken.
Thank you, Dick. Good morning. My name is Ken May, and I am the Chief Technology Officer based out of our corporate offices in Buffalo, New York. I've been with Allient 4.5 years now. Before that, I spent 23 years in aerospace and defense, and before that, about 8 years in automotive and powertrain in particular. I've always been around electromechanical actuation systems, so that's my passion as an engineer. So I'd like to talk to you today about our strong engineering capabilities and how we use them to deliver technologies and solutions to our customers. We consider ourselves an innovative company that leverages our global engineering resources to create creative solutions to solve our customers' difficult problems. Each and every solution can draw upon the wide spectrum of the corporate capabilities. We apply application experience and market knowledge to design systems and solutions that leverage the full breadth of the company in terms of products, technologies, and manufacturing capabilities. What I'd like to start out with is to go over some, we call them mega technology trends. These are trends that are going on in the industry that cross over all of our products and markets. The first is what I'll call electrification. And this is, in general, this is electrification of everything and anything. We think a lot about vehicles, and yeah, that's a big part of it. But we're not talking about passenger vehicles. For example, we are working with the defense industry to electrify the next generation of fighting vehicles. Electrification here means, for example, replacing the systems and subsystems that might represent legacy actuation technologies like hydraulics and pneumatics, replacing them with more efficient electrical technologies. Also, as these vehicles go more toward hybrid and all electric, we'll be seeing increasingly higher voltage systems as well. The next major trend is that of increased or improved energy efficiency. First and foremost, that means, for example, us increasing the efficiency of the parts that we put into our systems, motors, control, gearing systems. By increasing the efficiency of our part, we increase the efficiency of the system. One interesting observation is that in the world today, about 40% of all global electricity consumption is through a motor. Fascinating number. So even minor increases in improvement in the efficiency of a motor, the drive, and the gearing system can make a big difference in global energy consumption. The next thing I'd like to talk about briefly is power quality. By improving power quality, we also improve the efficiency of a system. Talk more about that in a minute. And lastly, by lightweighting anything that moves, we also reduce power consumption. This could obviously mean body panels. It also means lightening while maintaining strength and durability of moving parts in a motion control system or robotics, for example. The next major trend is more and more industrial automation, and this is right up our alley. This is driven by two things fundamentally, the increasing scarcity of skilled labor in industrialized countries, as well as talked about the ever-escalating costs that go along with it. So enablers here include more robotics, more autonomous and semi-autonomous systems, more intelligent systems, also more Internet of Things, the connectivity of the bits we make and how we communicate with the factory in terms of preventative maintenance and performance metrics. Also, anything that can improve throughput. How many widgets per hour can I make? Turn the speed up. Availability, so is the system up? What's the uptime of the system? Also, flexible manufacturing, sometimes called soft tooling, the ability to reconfigure the factory. And finally, better accuracy, better resolution, and here too, power quality improves. Industrial automation, more of it means more electricity, so more power quality opportunity as well. So the thing I would challenge you to think about as we talk through the afternoon here is all of the opportunities that align, the markets that align very well with these trends and the three pillars of Allient and how we support them quite well. So as a technology know-how company, engineering is at the core of everything we do. We consider engineering expertise a core competency and a competitive advantage. Shown here are some of the examples of good engineering design due diligence that we've created over the years and tailored to our products that help us to get it right the first time. That's the goal, get it right the first time. We also still, of course, do rigorous testing as we have to build the product, build it as a system, and test it in its natural environments and under the use conditions of the real world. The point here is that this is all good engineering workflow, and as a core competency, we continue to evolve it and improve it to maintain that competitive advantage. So the core foundation of Allient is motion and controls, consisting of motion control, drives, motors, and gearing. As Dick mentioned, motors are kind of the genesis of allied motion. Not all motors are created equal, so there's opportunity to have different motor types and technologies depending on the application. And so we've grown that portfolio through both acquisition and organic growth, and we've applied that same methodology to motion control, drives, and gearing as well. What I'm showing here is how all of these systems can come together in a multi-axis system. Two of the most recent acquisitions include some really exciting new capability that pull it all together. That system right there is an 8-axis tool set, and if we had it to do today, it was before Allient. If we had this to do today or build something similar, all of the content can be Allient product, which is really neat. So another key message to get across here is we own all the intellectual property here. So we own the software, the electronics design, the motor magnetics design, the gearing design, and in this case, the really sophisticated algorithms and know-how that make that system work. Highly synchronized multi-axis motion control is very tricky, and we brought in a lot of expertise that gets us there. So by having the intellectual property and the ability and the fact that we're vertically integrated, we could put these all together in a way that a lot of our competition either can't or won't do. So this is a competitive advantage, and with the right business case, we could sell systems like this at a very attractive margin as well. So critical applications. So critical applications can run the gamut from the vertical positioning of a manned rocket to the assembly cells to put together a large winged aircraft and pull all the panels together in just the right time and sequence and position and space to weld them together. We have examples of that. On the other end of the spectrum would be like a fully automated turnkey manufacturing cell where the focus is on throughput, the focus is on uptime, the focus is on the critical elements to that factory, which, for example, if it's putting out more vaccine or a pharmaceutical, 24/7 operation, high reliability, high uptime, very critical. So I guess in summary, we run the gamut of critical from man-rated life critical to process critical. So the means and methods that we apply across that spectrum of applications. So I'd like you to consider the way of putting together a single axis of motion control. For example, taking a filter, a drive, a motor, and a gearing system and kind of bolting them together. At Allient, we go one step further. For the right customer, the right environment, the right business case, we like to do what we call fully integrated assemblies or fully integrated systems. They provide the advantages I lay out there, which I could summarize as saying better fit, better function, and better form, better fit, better function, generally at a lower price and with a lower life cycle cost to the customer. This is a variety of 5 other integrated solution platforms that we have at Allient. And I wanted to give you examples of value added to the customer beyond the obvious here. One is an integrated traction drive system we put together from a mobility application where our system is so much more efficient than the incumbent system. The battery can be 20% smaller. 20% smaller, lighter, less expensive. Another one is a material handling fork truck application where that's this one here, where the integrated solution is so much smaller, one SKU can fit in like 12 different vehicles. So it doesn't have to be, the vehicle doesn't have to be reconfigured or redesigned around our steer-by-wire actuator. That one actuator can fit into as many as 12 different vehicles. Good for the customer, good for us. Another unit shown here is we'll call it a steer-by-wire system for GPS autonomous agricultural vehicle, like a combine or a harvester, where our integrated assembly enables the positioning of the vehicle. And lastly, as an example, an industrial actuator could be used in an autonomous guided vehicle, could be used in a robotic application, where the simplified cabling, in this case, means at the system level, there's fewer cables and fewer connectors. So what? Not only is that less expensive, connectors and cables, especially in moving devices, are a cause of unreliability or lack of reliability. So by implementing several of these in a system, we improve the reliability of the system for the customer as well. So now we'll add in the third pillar that is allied power and power quality. So starting with the elements of motion and control that we've talked about already, we're now going to drop in the building blocks or the elements of power quality. Starting at the front end, harmonic power quality mitigation. Then I'll call it the back end or downstream, the output filter. In combination, we like to say that these clean up the power quality. So I like to, people ask, what does that mean? Is there dirty power? Yeah, there is dirty power. A dirty power is an artifact of power generation that means noise. It means higher frequency noise. And that means the systems are going to run hotter and less efficient. So in this case, in a factory, by cleaning up the power quality, you also reduce the electric bill. The net power required energy to build 1,000 widgets an hour or whatever will actually go down, okay? So that's a very strong competitive advantage. On the filter side, an advantage here is that the filter will filter out some of the noise and the energy spikes that actually degrade the motors without it. So not shown here, but some of these factories have 0.5 megawatt motors, and they're very expensive, very long lead time, hard to repair. So be able to extend the life of these is a big deal for keeping a factory running. And lastly, one I think is interesting, so what's the opposite of clean power? Dirty power. Dirty power can cause unexpected consequences elsewhere in the factory. For example, another line could go down, or the facility down the street could have a power quality impact as well. So that's an added benefit. Now, Ashish this afternoon is going to talk at length about power quality systems and the value proposition to our customers and how we compete. And Manoj is going to talk about how we're going to roll power quality into the values equation with our ground vehicle customers as we look to electrify the next generation of fighting vehicle. So in summary, the future is exciting, and we're very excited about the future. The future for Allient is very bright. We believe we have a long runway of exciting opportunities that line up very well with the Allient structure. We are driving our future. We can expect greater market share by continuing to build on our capabilities through the integration of breadth of products, our engineering capabilities, our knowledge in motion control and power, by capitalizing on those three trends of electrification, more energy efficiency, and more industrial automation. In summary, our focus on innovation, our global operations, breadth of expertise means speed to market, unique solutions, and deep engagement with our customers. With that, I'll turn it over to Stephen.
Good morning. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate that. We appreciate all of you for joining us for this momentous milestone. I see some familiar faces in the room if you're here today and some new ones, so we look forward to meeting many of you I haven't yet today and those joining you virtually as well. I'm Steve Warzala, the Director of Strategic Business Development for Allied Motion. That's me. I started the company 13 years ago, back in 2010. Started in marketing, and then about a year later, our Director of Sales, Rudy Caldwell, stole me out of the marketing team and put me into the regional sales role I held for 8 years until joining the business development side of things. So when you look at our M&A side, you heard Dick talk about the ethos of Allied and where it came from when it was founded 20 years ago. This is a look at how we applied that strategy for our growth, from a $15 million operation to over $500 million in that 20-year span. Over that time, Dick's vision has come to bear, whereas 5 years ago, we made the acquisition to TCI, propelling Allied into an entirely new market, the power quality market, which changes from simply a motion control company to a control motion company. Now, a slight change in nomenclature, but one that had a big impact for us as a company. That foresight was the impetus as we shifted our trends in our product-focused markets. It continued as our portfolio grew with additional controls and I/O companies. Those small pieces setting the stage for our next phase of transformation. As part of our strategy, we've been cultivating for the last 5 years, eventually expanding our new horizon as Allied metamorphosizes into the phoenix that becomes Allient. Now, the House of Allient, as you'll see more of today, is a pictorial pantheon of our market-focused strategy. From the top of the house, or the new nexus, is where we can pull from our technology pillars of motion, controls, and power, truly connecting what matters in order to create the quintessential solution for our customers. We plan to continue our stellar growth by monitoring each vertical, market, and pillar with its own P&L responsibility to ensure ownership and accountability, allowing our subsidiaries to maintain their TU integrity. With that, we expanded our addressable market. As we embark into new markets, it allows us to double our current addressable market. Previously, we focused on motion aspects of technology. We now open the doors to controls and power quality. As you can see by the numbers, there's a large piece of the pie we're excited to further take a bite out of. Each pillar will have its own dedicated sales force. Like the products, there may be some overlap within certain projects, but that allows Allient to provide larger systems, a base scope of our customers within each pillar. We have 20 years in the motion industry, and that's been our predominant focus for that time period, bringing along decades of experience in that sector. And one of our keys to success, as Dick touched on in the beginning, was speed of play to our customers. That was the strategy that was put forth so many years ago. Now, as we continue to grow, we have to keep that simplify to accelerate mindset to ensure we don't lose focus of our key principles. Now, Helmut will have more on that in the motion pillar and market vertical after lunch. Controls, already reaching heavily into the industrial and vehicle markets, the last 7 acquisitions for Allient have helped improve our market share in both the defense and medical sectors. It has also bolstered our stable of engineering and engineering services offered across the company to our customers. You'll hear more about this later from Simon Rees and some more from Manoj Mehta as they get into their presentations. From motion control to controlled motion, the power quality market allows Allient to leverage additional relationships within these industries we did not have access to in the past. Additionally, opening the door to a more service-based model income stream. And Ashish Bender will touch more on that later in some additional slides. We talk about our M&A strategy. We look at our key objectives when it goes into how we look to acquire a company. We start by enhancing, the company we look at must enhance solution offerings with complementary adjacent technologies. Go back. Must drive geographic expansion in attractive markets, and it must expand our customer base in those target markets. We look at that, we go through our strategic filters on how we acquire the companies. It must enhance the financial profile of Allient. It must have a solid management team. It must provide significant upside potential, and it must meet our internal rate of return and create long-term shareholder. I skipped the middle one, but that's for a reason, because those key elements when we find an acquisition, but that's not the only focus. Allient is not simply looking for assets that will help our bottom line. They need to be the right fit, and that comes with a good cultural fit. Now, technology is paramount, don't get me wrong, but our search also requires the people within those companies to be part of that fit. Now, we know why those companies are successful, and it's our goal to come in and keep the full complement of resources and experience intact. Allient's a global corporation with a focus on international business culture, and that is what has made us so successful in our growth over the years. When you look around the room at the management team who's here today, we've got all varying different countries, different styles, different methods, and we're excited that that's part of our culture. Now, up next, you're going to see this image a lot going forward, the House of Allient. Now, that is the nexus to connecting what matters. With this comes a unique selling organization and expansion of our marketing capabilities, a new website launch, adding to our corporate marketing team, a full-scale training university, and lastly, improving our overall marketing capabilities. Additionally, like I said, there's a lot of people in this room who've been instrumental in the growth and success of this company. Today, you're seeing a select few of those presentations that Dick mentioned. There could have been a lot more, but Deb we made sure we didn't have too many. But we wanted to focus on some of our new capabilities for those of you watching at home and as well in the room. And it's been great to work with these folks in this room. I've had a lot of time with them, and it's been fantastic, and I continue to do that in the future. So up next, after that, after lunch, Helmut will begin, and others will follow, connecting you to Allient's vertical market focus. So with that, I put the best person in charge to wish you all a good lunch. So go eat.